Welcome everyone back to the Frank for Famous channel, where we're going to be talking about Chelsea versus Watford and what we should be expecting from that game. But before we dive into that information, I have some bad news. I cut my finger during that Chelsea versus West Ham game. It hurts. Slamming the remote due to this loss. I had to take some time to just clear my mind from all this anger. And I don't want to dive into something we already experienced. So let's talk more about the upcoming game and what we can do to end up winning that game. And also what are the steps we can do to solidify our defense and find ways so that the opposition's not able to exploit us on these cross balls into the box that I continue to speak about on my channel. I hope we do not need to go into the transfer market to bring in another defender, because I feel like we have some good defenders there. They're just not clicking. Without further ado, let's get it. Let's talk about the game that is going to be happening on Saturday afternoon here in America and what we should be expecting from Watford. One of the things we really have to understand is that Watford is in a dangerous position right now, as they're not in the best position in the table. So you know that they're going to be coming at each and every game full speed ahead. One thing we have to really realize is that Watford loves to play very aggressive. That is something that they are suitable to, and that is something that they're coached to have them well trained in. Also, Watford loves to catch teams sleeping and teams on standing flat foot, as they are able to throw in long balls into Troy Deeney, who's an excellent player at holding the ball and giving opportunity for his midfielders and wingers to push up and to play the ball with him. Another thing we have to really realize is that Watford is going to let us have the ball, but they are going to also press aggressively. So if we're caught out, we're going to be putting ourselves in a position to where teams are going to be able to exploit us, because if we're not structured and we're not seeing our players more compacted, we're going to end up like the same situation we just did with West Ham. One of the things I think for Chelsea is what we need to really understand is when we're coming to play against this team, we need to really look at what our strengths and weaknesses are. We cannot get caught with our defenders too high up the field and no one in the back to cover, just in case a ball is either kicked over our defender and it's a foot race, which I really have more confidence with the foot races with Rudiger, but Andres Christensen, I can see that his pace is there, but sometimes it lacks as he tries to make last second tackles in order to stop the ball from continuing to go towards our goal. If we're going to be playing the way that we did against West Ham, where Antonio was the only striker, which would be Troy Deeney, and Rudiger will contain. We need Andres Christensen, or if Andres Christensen is containing their striker, Rudiger needs to be somewhere either behind play or off to the side, just so then we're not going to be exploited with, say for instance, what Marcos Alonso pushing up, seeing the opposition moving forward, and Rudiger caught in no man's land. We don't need to be put in that position again. We need to make sure that if we're going to be pushing forward and we have two defenders back there, we're going to need to make sure that someone is covering space. Especially when you're playing against Watford, you need to be covering space and attacking space in order to break them down. That's where we're seeing some struggles. Also, on the offensive end, we had plenty of chances versus West Ham, but we're not being decisive. That intensity needs to stay consistent throughout play, and the team needs to be pressing at the same time. We can't have the striker pressing and the midfield trying to catch up. It doesn't work that way. We're going to be making gaps for ourselves. So I believe that with the team we should be seeing tomorrow, Giroud should be starting in the striker position, giving Tammy Abraham an opportunity to rest. On the wing, we should be seeing Pulisic and also Willian. In the midfield, I would like us to have Mason Mount coming in for Kovacic, and then Ross Barkley, and then Conte as the holding midfielder. And then in the back line, I want to see Emerson. I don't think that's possibly going to happen. So if we're going to play Alonso, he's going to have to be on his game. And have Kurt Zuma and Rudiger containing the back line with Azpilicueta on the right-hand side. I think that team is going to be a little more structured. There's going to be more control when it comes to that team and the physicality that they're going to be bringing towards Chelsea. Also, balls being crossed into the box. That is something that we're seeing a multitude of time, and we haven't figured it out yet. We don't know what we need to do in order to stop these balls from getting into the box and how to organize ourselves so that we're not being in a position where we have players who are guarding someone who's inches taller than them. We need to make sure that all of our players that are 6 feet and above are staying with the Watford players that are also 6 feet and above. Yes, we can point the finger, but now it's not the time. We're on a run, and we need to get back into the groove of things because Manchester United and Wolves are on our tails. And we don't want to slip after we've come so far and gone off to a great start, beating some good teams in the beginning. So I think the best thing for us to do is to find a way of how we can organize ourselves in the back and try our hardest to make sure that balls are not being crossed into the box without challenges, and we're not making dumb mistakes and kicking balls out to the cross location. Those are things that we can be avoiding and need to be avoiding if we're not going to be playing very hard and we're not going to be playing smart inside of the box when the opposition is attacking us. All right, Chelsea. So I'm pleading right now. This is a race to the finish line. We do not want to see Manchester United or Wolves take our place. We're so excited and moving forward and looking at taking that third spot away from Leicester City. And to play for Chelsea is a great pride. And we have to understand every year we have to be either contending for a top 4 spot or also contending for a trophy. So the biggest thing right now is we got to understand every single game has to be fully concentrated on. You cannot lack any type of discipline. This is the final race, and in order for us to get across that line, we need each player to bring out the best out of each other. And we can't have these slip-ups happening. It's too close. This race is way too close for comfort. I want to see us striving. I want to see us moving forward as we have some great players on the way. But in order for us to be very excited about what the future holds, we have to take care of the now. And we have to show Frank Lampard that everything that he put in and all the energy and believing in the youth, that's going to be repaid. But when it comes to it, we have to really understand that if we're seeing a weakness in the defense, that comes from the top, the middle, before it gets to the back of the defense. Everyone has to be playing their part. We shouldn't be seeing any gaps in between any of those positions. We are a well-oiled machine. We just need everyone to be fighting for the badge week in and week out, and I believe in you guys. Let's get this W against Watford tomorrow, and let's continue on the path we started on the restart of the season. So you guys, tell me what you think. Do you think the lineup for tomorrow is going to be suitable for our play against Watford? And also, what do you think are going to be a couple of ways we can really stop other teams from exploiting us when crosses are coming into our box. Please leave a comment down low. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. Come on, Blues!